Hello everyone. So, hi. For people who haven't seen me, I'm Diigii. This is my first time I'm showing my face on YouTube. Usually I'm live on Twitch with my cam and stuff, but the videos that I made so far, I just wanted to make guide videos and stuff like that. But I really wanted to make a PTR video, maybe not too long, but just to show you a couple things. Maybe explain a couple things about Shadow Priest. So I'll try to make this video as clean as possible, I mean without any cutoffs and stuff like that. So I think that usually makes the video a bit more focused, I guess, for the people. Like when I'm watching sometimes videos or guides, like I don't even know what people like are talking about, or they only like tell you certain parts of a talent trees or 4 sets. I'm like, what do you even mean? Like I want to learn how to play the class. So but I just want to tell you like maybe the basics and stuff, and like the stats, or at least the tier set, I mean, the talent changes so far, and I want to show you like 2 builds I've been testing with. So that's probably gonna be the main focus of this video. So, as you've seen before in my videos, I was a goblin before, but I apparently you can race change on the PTR for free, so I changed in the Blood Elf. I think I'm gonna be Blood Elf as well in the main patch, in main retail. So I just think it looks amazing. So when I press 11, you can see it. Oh, look at that tier set. That's just phenomenal, right? I love it. All right. So, don't want to talk too much before. I just want to get into it, and we can just go. Okay, I tried a little bit about copying my UI from retail. It was quite difficult getting all the add-ons to work, but I think it's doable now. Alright, let's get into the tier set. So, I hope it's readable. I probably will put like an extra thing over there, but yeah. I just hover over the item. Of course, this is the tier set. On the PTR, by the way, you can just buy them or get them from a vendor. If you even want to try it yourself, I had to like look for how do I even test this stuff. But in Ogromar, as a horde player, there's like NPCs like in the middle of the city center, and you can buy stuff. You can even buy trinkets from them. So that's really cool. I even bought the other trinket as well, the one from one of the new mythic dungeons. Can't remember the name anymore because it's all new. So, but yeah, you can even buy those. Pretty cool. So tier set. What does our tier set do? I've seen that there have been a lot of changes recently. So I was like, oh, I want to make a video. Oh, yeah, I know how this talent works. And then I looked at the talent stats and I thought, oh damn, they already changed it again. So. Okay, this is like the update from the 24th of April. So, let's get into it. So, our tier set. We got 2 things. Increases the chance for Shadow Insight to trigger by 25%. People are like, oh, what does Shadowy Insight do again? So, we're just gonna go to the talents again. And I'll just type Shadowy Insight. There we go. And when I hover over it... Okay, most of you probably already know what it does. But Shadow Bane, the periodic damage, has a chance to reset the remaining cooldown on Mind Blast and causes your next Mind Blast to be instant. So that's like one of those procs that you sometimes have. And you have Shadow Pain on the target, and suddenly you can cast an extra Mind Blast. It will glow, it will give a glow around the corner or the edges of the spell, and you can cast it for free. So usually when you have 2 stacks, just like I have now, you get an extra stack. So you actually got 3 now. So that's what our tier set does. It gives a 25% increased chance, which is pretty cool. And what it also does is, when you consume the Shadow Insight, Mind Blast deals 30% increased damage. That's pretty sick, to be honest. And it generates 4 additional insanity. So that's pretty huge. Like 30% is quite a lot, to be honest. So that's what it does. It will trigger, and I think this will almost definitely be like a must to use those procs as soon as possible. I can't remember if they stack. I don't think they stack. No, it doesn't say. So I think, yeah, you know, I'm just putting out stuff. Like I'm not a pro expert, but I would assume, and I have to test it in the retail as well when it comes out, that you have to cast that proc as soon as possible. Because it's just a waste to like let the 30% go. So, and it generates 4 additional insanity, which is pretty nice. I love it. And then the second part of our tier set is Devouring Plague deals increased damage by 15%, which is quite a lot, of course. Oh, my cat is coming. I see her on the ground. And every 4 casts of Devouring Plague increases the damage of your shadowy apparitions. Okay, before we go any further, let me go to shadowy apparitions. That's already above in the tree. You know, those are just the flying things that go to the targets. The flying shadowy forms of yourself. They go to the targets and they deal damage. I will read it, because just to clarify a little bit. Mind Blast, Devouring Plague and Void Bolt conjure a shadowy apparition. So Mind Blast, of course your main ability. Devouring Plague, also your main spender. And then Void Bolt, which can only be used during Void form. They will conjure a shadow apparition that floats towards the target. So this is gonna be the expansion or the season again where you see so many flying apparitions. It's gonna be amazing. Afflicted by your Vampiric Touch. So you need to have a Vampiric Touch on the target, and if you cast one of the abilities, one of the 3, it will conjure a shadowy apparition. So what does our tier set do again when you go back? Every 4 casts of Devouring Plague increases the damage of your shadowy apparition conjured within the next 10 seconds by 80%. So they almost deal twice as much damage. It would be even amazing if you have the 80% plus you have the 100% crit. Yeah, I think crit might be quite decent this season, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how far we need to go with the crit. I think I have 12% right now with the tier set. So yeah. So, and your Devouring Plague does more damage, and every 4 casts increases shadow or the damage of your shadow apparitions. So we'll have to see how difficult it is to keep this up. Like, I don't know, when you have a lot of insanity, of course, and you keep casting Devouring Plague, then it's really nice, of course, to cast them. But yeah, I think with one of the talents I'll show you later, then it can be maybe very good. Because when you keep casting Devouring Plague, it just increases all your overall damage. But yeah. So my first thoughts were like, okay, so we're gonna build a lot around those shadowy apparitions. So this is probably gonna be the main focus as well for this season. I don't think I'm dissatisfied with it, but it forces, of course, the use of a certain playstyle, which is good, of course. But yeah, like you have to play with the shadowy apparitions, and if that's gonna be a thing on your tier sets, I'll show you later in the talents as well. Then we gotta adjust accordingly. So the testing that have been done so far is gonna be like a certain part of the talent tree that you'll most likely will always use. So that's maybe a minus point, I guess, but there's still so many options left, so I think we'll be fine as well. Alright, so the tier set, 2 things, pretty good. I love it. I like those shadowy flying thingies, so gonna be very excited to play with it. Gonna go back in shadow form, and I got the trinket as well. This is definitely probably gonna be one of our best trinkets. It gives haste, but it gives like 2500 intellect for 20 seconds, which is huge. So yeah, this is the trinket that I had before Mythic Plus came out in Season 1. And now, of course, I think I changed it with the Voidman, the Shadow Gem. But yeah. Alright, maybe this one is still... Oh no, of course this one can't even be a thing in Season 2. So never mind. Alright, so a lot of talking. It's very difficult for me to talk like this, like doing it live. Because yeah, of course, not like an English native speaker, so... But I'll do my best. So, next, we got our talents. A couple things I want to mention. I wrote them down on the list, so I don't forget them. So, we already talked about the shadowy apparition, so this is always going to be something. Otherwise, your tier set is not going to work. So, you need this one. There's no going around it. Then when we go a little bit lower, we got Psychic Link. There's nothing new. Psychic Link has already been there since Season 1. So when you do damage in Season 1 and you have Psychic Link on and you have 2 dots on 2 enemies, then when you hit the first enemy, the second enemy will get hit as well. In Season 1, it's 60% of the damage will be transferred to the second mob as well. But now they even changed it to 30%. Like last week when I was testing, it was 40%. So it seems they nerfed it, which is, I don't know why, but because I've been testing and I got around the same damage in Season 2 with this current build as in Season 1. Or, okay, I'll have to say correctly. The damage that I'm currently doing is about the same as in retail. So, but maybe when our damage scales or our gear gets better, maybe it's getting a little bit out of balance, so I can maybe understand it. So, but Psychic Link now works with all single targets or all damage dealing abilities except for your dots. And it already says it as well. Does not apply damage from Shadowy Apparitions, Shadowy Pain, and Vampiric Touch. So those are the only damage dealing things that don't work with Psychic Link, but everything else works. So Mind Blast, we got Mind Blast, we got Mind Flay, we got Devouring Plague, we got Void Bolt, we got Shadow of Death as well. So a lot of abilities that now work with Psychic Link. That's pretty huge, but it transfers 30% of the damage done. So I'm really curious. I will have a demonstration later on the nerf, I guess. We'll see how it goes. Next, we always had Shadow Crash, but they did a separation. Shadow Crash now only does damage. It's just like a bolt or a moving energy bolt that you can throw at the destination. I'll show you. I got it macroed, by the way, on my mouse. So wherever my mouse is, I throw the Shadow Crash at. So when I cast it over here, whoop, there we go, see? So now the first talent only does damage. And then we have a new talent, it's called Whispering Shadows. And that one will apply Vampiric Touch up to 8 targets. So it's still the same as before, they just made it... Yeah, I don't know what the English word for it is, but they made 2 talents out of it. And of course with Misery, because it only works with Vampiric Touch, but when you have Misery, it also applies Shadow Pain when you cast a Vampiric Touch or when you throw the Shadow Crash. So, yeah. Yeah, like this one, Misery, Shadow Crash, and Whispering Shadow. Yeah, we always have to use those. Always, in every build. We always have to use Shadow Apparition. We always have to use Psychic Link, otherwise we don't have the AOE damage. So, that's not a problem, but just to keep that in mind. Then we have a new talent called Void Touch. This increases your Devouring Plague damage by 6%. Not that huge, but increases your maximum insanity by 150. So that's the first time we had like over 100 insanity, which is pretty cool. Which means you're not as easily capped. But we'll have to figure it out as well. Like, how does this work with our builds? So do we maybe need to get more insanity and maybe make sure we proc our tier set as much as possible? So when you cast 4 Devouring Plagues, it will increase the Shadowy Apparition damage by 80%, or we'll have to find our way with it. But it's a pretty cool talent. I think, I'm not sure if it's always being used, but of course it's good to have like the extra 50 insanity, especially when you're like bloodlusting on bosses in raids, for example. Like you overcap so quickly, and yeah, even when I look back at my logs and like I look at the recommendations, like, oh yeah, you already overcapped insanity too much. I'm like, damn, I'm already casting so much. So this is a good way to avoid things like that. And what else did I have in my thing? I think this was it actually. This was it. These are like the huge or the main differences between Season 1 and Season 2. So the Shadow Crash change, the Void Touch, Shadow Apparition, yeah. So I said what I said before is I'll probably you'll maybe also notice that the differences in the talent tree, like they moved, for example, Idol of Satoon to the right bottom corner. So they made a couple changes. So I think it was here before, right? One of these, but they mixed it up a little bit. But what I said before is there's like a certain part in the talent tree that you'll probably always be using, and that's the third row. Why? Because the third row, it's a good addition on your shadowy apparition damage. So this one is for the insanity, that's perfect. And this is the first one. Shadowy apparitions deal 150% increased damage to target affected by a devouring plague. So that's huge. 150% increased damage. Yeah, that's just amazing. So you do a lot of damage, 150% more. But keep in mind, shadow apparitions don't work with psychic link. So I'm not sure how it technically works. I have to figure that out myself as well, like how it works with the devouring plague and stuff like that. And then we got another passive, shadow apparition, deal 15% increased damage and have a chance to generate 1 insanity. So when you have a lot of targets and you have a lot of dots on and you see all those flying things, that means like they generate 1 insanity, which is huge. Of course, they have a chance, but it's still pretty amazing. So this is definitely a very good insanity gainer. Of course, the 15% extra damage is always very good. Then we have another one. Shadow pain damage has a 6% chance to create a shadowy apparition that floats toward all targets afflicted by your vampiric touch. So yeah, this is almost a no-brainer. So when you have shadow pain on a target, it has a 6% chance to create an apparition. And so when you throw a good shadow crash at 8 targets, they all get like the shadow pain dot on them. So it only increases like the chances of creating shadow apparitions more, which is amazing. And it increases the critical strike as well. Oh no, that's not what it said. I have to read it correctly. Critical strike increases chance to 12%. So when you crit, I think that's how it works. You have to like double the chance to create a shadowy apparition. So I think that's why I said I think critical strike might be maybe a little bit more important this season for Shadow Priests. Just to increase the critical strike, of course, just to increase those number of shadowy apparitions that we generate. And then the last one. After conjuring a shadowy apparition, gain a stack of Idol of Yogg-Saron. This is nothing new, this is what it was in Season 1. 25 stacks. Not sure if it was 25 before, I have to maybe check it later. Thought it was 20. But of course it summons, I think, from beyond. We'll be checking it out now, because I think I've got nothing more to explain about the talent tree. So I hope it all made it a little bit more sense about the small changes that we have so far. And how my thoughts are about like the way Shadow Priest will be played. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I mean, look how cool this is. I just love this set. And look how many people there are. So we can do like a demonstration, rotation on how Shadow Priest works. Like I have 2 builds. This is like the main build that I'm using currently. That's like quite similar to that we had before. Like with the usual Void Torrents. The thing is, Void Torrents are 30 seconds now. Did they change it as well? No. I thought it used to be like a little bit higher, but okay. It's still 30 seconds with the Malediction. And that's quite good. It's being used even on Brute Mother. Jeez, I have to say correctly. I'm using this kind of similar build as well, which is pretty good. 30 seconds Void Torrent. It helps a lot, gives a lot of damage, and it's yeah, pretty huge. I don't think I mentioned Void Torrent being that works with Psychic Link, but it does. So, and of course that's why I've also been using Void Eruption in this talent tree, because Void Bolt also works with Psychic Link. So, yeah, almost a no-brainer. So, we're gonna try to do a rotation. What I usually do is, of course, I start with a Shadow Crash. I cast my Shadow Fiends. I will try to cast my Shadow at Death as well, because it also works with Psychic Link. But of course I need to have my dots up, otherwise I don't do damage. Like Psychic Link only works when you have dots on the enemy. Vampiric Touch to be specific. So yeah. So that's what I'm going to do. Throwing a Shadow Crash. Gonna throw in my Shadow Fiend. Gonna throw in my Shadow Word Death. But I always start with it because usually why do I cast it at the start? Because I usually know the cooldown is it's now 10 seconds, by the way. It was 20 seconds before, so this is huge. So before, when I knew whether the target would or wouldn't die within 20 seconds, I would cast Shadow Word Death. Just because of the extra damage boost. Just a waste not to pop it. When I had it on cooldown, or off cooldown I mean, I could cast it. And I knew the target would like get under 20% within the next 5 seconds. I will usually keep my Shadow Word Death until that very moment, and not yet I cast it. So that's one of the small things, of course, that makes you do a little bit more damage. So, Shadow Crash, Shadow Fiend, Shadow Word Death. I cast my 2 Mind Blasts. Because when I cast Void Eruption, the Mind Blast will be reset. And, okay, I do the 2 Mind Blasts, and then I start my Power Infusion with Void Eruption. And we'll have to see. I'll cast my Devouring Plague when I did my rotation. But now I can just cast Void Torrent a little bit sooner because we have the 150 Insanity, which is pretty good, to be honest. Before we would overcap. You do the rotation and you already had around maybe 100 Insanity. And then of course you couldn't cast Void Torrent. But now you can, so which makes a huge difference. So I just do a little rotation. It's maybe not the best, it's maybe not the final one as well. But just to show you a couple things. Okay, let me enable my sound a little bit. I just love to have my sound on. So Shadow Crash, Fiend, and then we go. There we go. See, you already got a proc. See, I still don't have 100 Insanity. I can just cast this one. Mind Flay. I almost want to say Mind Slay. And my Void Torrent is already off cooldown. It's so amazing that the cooldown is so low on Shadow Word Death. So we can get around 150 damage. 150k. Oh, 250k. Jeez, what am I saying? 250k. And that's not even the final. It's very hard for me to talk and do damage at the same time. But that's about it. We can do another one. Let's do another round. So as you could see, like before, you already had almost certainly had 100 Insanity. And that's meant you need to spend the other things and then you finally can use Void Torrent. But now you can just do your whole rotation and then you can cast Void Torrent right away. So which is huge, of course. So it makes your priority, your spell priority a little bit easier. Yeah. Just walking a little bit because I'm waiting for my cooldowns to go away. I'll probably cut the video a little bit. Okay, let's try again. This time with a potion. This time I'll try to do the rotation even a little bit better. So I'll throw my Shadow Crash, my Shadow Fiend, Shadow Word Death, 2 Mind Blasts, and I'll start with the other things. I'll do the Power Infusion, I'll do the Void Eruption, I'll do a Shadow or a Void Bolt right after Void Eruption, and then I'll do my Void Torrent. And then we'll see what procs we're getting. Alright, there we go. Okay, 2 Mind Blast and a Power Infusion. Okay, I got the proc, so I used the proc. $250 still. Yeah, Shadow Word Death does a lot of damage. And I'm not even using my Halo and stuff like that, so. So, there we go. About 250k. So as I said, the damage is around the same as in retail, but yeah, it seems, even though they nerfed Psychic Link with 10%, it still seems to do a lot of damage. So this is the first build I've been testing in the PTR. And now we're gonna try the Deathspeaker build. There's a talent, Deathspeaker. And what this does is, your Shadow Word Pain damage has a chance to reset the cooldown of your Shadow Word Death. Increases its damage by 25% and always deals 250% increased damage regardless of the target's health. So maybe in this situation, because the damage were already pretty low, it's still a pretty good talent. So let's click that one. Death build. Gonna do things a little bit different. We got Mind Spike now, and Mind Spike replaces Mind Flay. And we also got Mind Melt. I think, was it Mind Melt? What was the other one? I thought we also had a thing called Mind Spike Insanity. Ah, there we go. I'm not sure if that's a new one, but that's what's happening now in the build. We got Mind Spike Insanity. So not Mind Flay Insanity, because Mind Flay is gone now. It's being replaced by Mind Spike, but Mind Spike Insanity. So we also got the Mind Bender now. So what is the Deathspeaker build? So we have a chance to reset the cooldown of Shadow Word Death. It always deals 250% increased damage when it resets. But in combination with our Mind Bender, and the Mind Bender teleports behind the targets with our talent Inescapable Torment. So your Mind Blast and Shadow Word Death cause your Mind Bender to teleport behind your target, slashing up to 5 nearby enemies. So this is huge. When you cast your Shadow Word Death, only 10-second cooldown, you can cast it twice, you can get procs, 250% increased damage. When the mob is already low, for example a boss, and you keep casting those Shadow Word Deaths, it it does a lot of damage. Even with Mind Bender, it will get up to 5 targets. It's pretty sick. Yeah, this is just lovely. Like, I love these kind of things. Like, it's two totally different builds. Like the other one is like our regular build with the Void Torrents. We don't even pick Void Torrent anymore. And the other one is like the Deathspeaker build. So that's what we did before. At the beginning of the expansion, we picked Mind Bender quite often, because it teleports behind the target, and it's pretty decent, to be honest. But yeah, so this is the second build. Yeah, probably won't wait for my potion. I just want to do the rotation. You can see the targets are quite high now, so gives us a better chance to see how good it is. Gonna do the same opener. Just gonna do the Shadow Crash as well. This time I'll do the Mind Bender, because I want to spend my Shadow Word Death. Because why do you want to do Mind Bender before Shadow Word Death? Because of course, as I said before, it will teleport the Mind Bender behind the target, and it will do damage. So that's why you want to prioritize Mind Bender after Shadow Crash. And the Mind Blast that you do the same. Mind Bender will teleport behind the target, slashes up to 5 enemies. Oh, spinning on my microphone, let's go. So, doing the opener. Let's go. Shadow Crash, Mind Bender, Shadow Word Death, and then the 2 Mind Blasts, and I'll do my Power Infusion, Void Eruption. See, we got a proc. You can see all the apparitions flying around. Just amazing. I don't think I threw it at the correct spot. I don't think we get any procs, am I right? Oh. Okay, am I just being stupid? No, oh, there we go. We got the thing now. Very unlucky with the procs. Okay, we're gonna try it one more time. Gonna try one more time. I don't think I did the rotation that well, but okay. Last try, and then I think it's enough for today. I hope at least you guys learned something. Okay, there we go. Gonna try again. Shadow Crash, Mindbender, and then we go the open rotation. Shadow of Death. Got Mind Blast. Oh, we got a proc. Let's do that one first, and then we go in the Power Infusion. Just gotta use up all the procs. Still got a lot of insanity to spend, but the extra thing is just pretty good. See, we got 260k. Oh, we didn't even use the potion. I forgot to use the potion. But 260k, still overall pretty good. Pretty good. Oh yeah. Here we are. Show you a couple things, 2 builds, tier set. The changes so far. Yeah, there probably gonna be another couple other changes the upcoming weeks, but yeah, I think this is it. Do I have other things to tell you? I don't think so. Mostly the other things have been the same. I think the left side of the tree, almost no changes whatsoever. Of course, you still have the mind games. That's pretty good. We still, of course, the Vampiric Embrace, which is always good, very good. I don't know what the changes are with the retail. Yeah, I just want to maybe have a quick look. Oh, it seems it does more healing, 62%. I just looked at it. It's 50% in retail in the main patch. It's pretty good, not too bad to be honest. So yeah, they're like small changes, small buffs. It means only Shadow Priest is only gonna be more viable with off healing. So I love that kind of thing. That's what I like about Shadow Priest as well. It helps a lot, especially with boss fights, dungeons, Mythic Plus, raid fights, etc. So yeah, I guess this is it. Tier set, we talked about it. Look how cool it looks. Gonna do a little dance, of course. Oh, for the video. Oh. There we go. Look at us. Can't wait to use it in retail. It's a bit strange. See, the wings are like flapping around. Alright. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Yeah, I'll probably be making more in the future. This was maybe something I haven't done before. So, yeah, it's quite hard to keep talking, but I hope I gave you a good explanation how to use Shadow Priest. And overall, I'm quite happy with it. It plays much I don't know if easy is the right word, but the procs are much less, which is really helpful. It's not as hectic as before. You've got more time to like see, okay, what do I want to cast? There's still some procs, but at least we removed a couple spells, a couple procs. We got more insanity, so we don't have to spend it all at the same time. So I think the upcoming weeks is for me as well to figure out what the right spell priority is. I think that's very important. So do I have to cast the Mind Blast procs first, or if I do the Deathspeaker build, do I have to cast the procs from Shadow of Death first, etc. So, yeah. Okay, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you another time. See you later.